You know, we talk a lot about digital footprints,
Yeah, constantly.
right? Like you buy coffee with an app or you search for a symptom on your phone. Even if you just pause for 3 seconds on a video, a server somewhere logs it.
Oh, absolutely. The Digital Panopticon is very real.
And we just live with this like almost suffocating assumption that our data is permanent, that for the average person, for you listening right now, it is mathematically and physically impossible to actually disappear online today.
Well, it is incredibly thorough.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you hire the people who built the locks.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a stack of sources that outline basically the architecture of an illusion. And we're not just talking about a stage trick.
No, not at all.
We are piecing together these newly unsealed Department of Justice documents, along with some leaked internal emails filled with this deeply unsettling cybernetic philosophy, plus an alarming 2007 FBI memo.
Right, and we're comparing all of this against excerpts from a 1965 psychological thriller novel called The Magus.
Yeah, so our mission for this deep dive is to investigate how a man who literally modeled himself after the villain in that novel, Jeffrey Epstein, quietly went about recruiting elite international cybersecurity experts.
We're looking at the actual mechanics of how you build an untouchable digital empire.
Exactly. So to understand those mechanics, we really have to look at the architects he was courting.
Right, and this recent DOJ drop points directly to a man named Vincenzo Iozzo.
Which is a huge name.
It is. In the information security world, that is a heavyweight name. He's an Italian cybersecurity expert affiliated with Politecnico di Milano and a former director of vulnerability intelligence at a firm called Trail of Bits.
Okay.
His published research covers some highly technical ground, things like red teaming AI, fuzzing binaries, and most crucially for us, digital forensics and anti-forensics.
Okay, let's unpack that jargon for a second, because, I mean, fuzzing binaries sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it does.
If I'm understanding this right, fuzzing is essentially throwing a million random, malformed pieces of data at a software program, like throwing a million different keys at a lock just to see which one makes the system crash or break open.
Right.
That's a perfect way to visualize it. It's weaponized curiosity. It's a way to find hidden vulnerabilities before anyone else does.
Right.
But the really critical term in his resume is anti-forensics.
Which sounds incredibly dark.
It is. I mean, traditional digital forensics is the science of recovering data for an investigation. Anti-forensics is the dark mirror of that.
Okay, so actively hiding things.
More than just hiding, it is the active practice of evading or completely blinding state-level investigations. It's not just tucking a file in a hidden folder.
Right, they'd find that.
Exactly. It's altering the metadata, scrambling the timestamps, and securely wiping the drive so thoroughly that the FBI can't even tell a file ever existed.
Wow.
If standard privacy is closing the blinds, anti-forensics is burning the house down and bleaching the ashes. And the unsealed DOJ files confirm that Epstein and Iozzo were in direct email correspondence, right? They were planning multiple meetings.
Yeah, the documents specifically highlight a trip in the summer of 2013. Epstein's assistant, Leslie Groff, is emailing a VIP manager at Caesars Entertainment in Las Vegas.
And they're organizing this lavish, belated 60th birthday trip for Epstein.
Right.
The paper trail from the assistant explicitly states the trip is being bankrolled, quote, all on Leon's card, referring to the billionaire Leon Black, who was a majority owner of Caesars at the time.
Now, just to jump in and keep the record strictly factual based on the files we have, an attorney for Leon Black has stated that he was unaware of Epstein's alleged crimes and only paid him for financial advice.
Right. We have to be clear about that. We're just reading the document.
Exactly. His spokesperson also noted he has no recollection of covering costs for this specific Vegas trip. But, you know, the documentary trail from Epstein's camp is what it is.
Yeah, the emails are there. And the wildest part of this Vegas itinerary isn't the Nobu reservations or the suites booked for associates like Jean-Luc Brunel. It's the fact that Epstein specifically requested tickets to DIFCON.
Which is just wild. It's the world's largest, most paranoid hacker convention.
It's an incredible detail because DEF CON organizers famously do not accept credit cards to protect attendees' anonymity.
But it's a cash-only ecosystem.
So the Caesars staff actually had to pay for the 8 conference passes out of a Caesars cash account. And the schedule shows Epstein planning a dinner meeting there with a prominent hacker named Pablos Holman.
And when this DOJ documentation came to light recently, it sent absolute shockwaves through the cybersecurity industry.
I can imagine.
The organizers of DEFCON actually banned Iozzo, Holman, and another associate, Joichi Ito, from all future events. I should add that Iozzo has categorically denied ever being a hacker for Epstein, calling the accusations false and defamatory.
But wait, I have to push back here. Let's look at this logically for a second. You have $1 billion. His entire life is built on managing massive amounts of wealth and dealing with sensitive corporate data.
Sure.
Every family office on the planet is a target for ransomware. So, couldn't going to a hacker convention or communicating with a vulnerability intelligence expert just be standard corporate defense? Like, he's just a rich guy looking for better firewall protection.
I mean, if we were looking at a normal billionaire, absolutely.
Right.
But if we connect this to the philosophy driving him, that standard corporate defense argument just falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
To understand what he wanted from these hackers, you have to look at the book his inner circle constantly referenced.
The Machiavellian by John Fowles?
Yes. The sources we're looking at include heavily annotated excerpts from this novel, and the core of the book revolves around a concept called decreation.
Decreation. Oh, that's a chilling word.
It really is. The text explicitly defines it. It says, to make something created pass into the uncreated, the elimination of what is dead. Fowles writes about a disposable world where reality passes into description.
So he didn't just want a firewall.
No. Epstein wasn't interested in a firewall to protect a server. He wanted to uncreate his physical liability. He wanted to turn his illicit network, his wealth, and his leverage into pure, untouchable information.
A finite world of words, like the novel says.
Exactly. To achieve literal digital decreation against the combined weight of the NSA and global financial oversight, you don't just hire an IT guy. You need architects of the invisible.
So, okay, what does that actually look like in practice? Because my immediate thought is a digital offshore.
What do you mean?
Like, he has billions of dollars, he's a known financial evader, so he hires anti-forensics experts to build a digital Cayman Islands for his cryptocurrency.
Well, financial concealment is definitely the foundational layer. The sources detail the mechanics of how anti-forensics applies to blockchain tracing. Law enforcement uses something called address clustering to track illicit funds.
Let me see if I have this right. Clustering is basically connecting the dots. Like, if you buy a coffee using Bitcoin wallet A, and later you buy a car using funds from wallet A and wallet B combined, the tracker now mathematically knows that wallets A and B belong to the same person.
That is exactly the vulnerability. Once they link one wallet to your real identity, the whole cluster collapses. They can see every transaction you've ever made.
Wow, okay.
So to defeat that, an anti-forensics expert has to enforce a draconian one address, one purpose rule.
So you never reuse anything?
Never. They build automated systems, ensuring no digital footprints ever cross-contaminate. They launder the digital change perfectly. But if we look at the leaked emails from May 2018, we realize we aren't just talking about hidden Bitcoin.
Right.
The infrastructure was being built for something much darker.
You're talking about the email thread with Joscha Bach. This is an AI researcher. Epstein sends an email with the subject line mystery.
Yeah.
And the text of the email asks, I posit that there is an internal game with its own payoff matrix, separate from the external. Is there a machine internal state equivalent?
And Bach replies by diving deep into cybernetic regulation paradigms. He brings up theorists like Valentino Breitenberg and Rodney Brooks, who studied how autonomous machines interact.
Right.
Bach explains that when local cost functions lead to a Nash equilibrium that conflicts with the organism's global goals, you have to introduce a higher-level regulation that imposes offsets on the payoff matrices of the lower-level agents.
Yeah.
He calls it an internal governance hierarchy.
Okay, wait, we need to translate that from cybernetics into reality because that is a dense, terrifying piece of text. Let's use an analogy.
Good idea.
A Nash equilibrium is essentially a gridlock. Think of a rigged game of Monopoly or like a Mexican standoff. It's a situation where no player can change their strategy without hurting themselves, so everyone just stays stuck in the system.
Yes, exactly. And Epstein's question reveals how he viewed human beings. The people in his orbit, the politicians, the scientists, the victims, were just lower-level agents in a machine.
They were stuck in a Nash equilibrium.
Right.
And Epstein viewed himself as the higher-level regulation. He is the guy stepping into the standoff and secretly changing the bullets to blanks. He's imposing offsets on their lives through blackmail, financial incentives, and psychological manipulation.
That's the payoff matrix.
Yeah.
It's a completely amoral cybernetic feedback loop.
Yeah.
But think about the logistics of running a global operation like that.
It would be massive.
Right, to manage a payoff matrix of that scale, you need an infrastructure that never fails, never leaks, and can never be traced. The hackers weren't just securing his money, they were securing the digital vaults of his blackmail material.
They were building the control system for his game.
Exactly.
But if you are running a global payoff matrix, your biggest threat is the external narrative. You have to control what the public sees and scrub anomalies out of the system before they catch the attention of law enforcement.
Right. Reputation management.
Yeah, and the sources show exactly how that was pitched to him. There's a December 2011 pitch for online reputation management sent directly to Epstein.
And it outlines a highly sophisticated three-pronged approach to rewriting reality.
The language in this document is wild. Prong 1 is optimizing good information to push down the negative using proprietary algorithms.
Okay.
Prong 2 is actively eliminating bad information using those same algorithms to, quote, redirect the way in which Google sequences your information.
Wow.
And Prong 3 is the most aggressive, eliminating personal information like social security numbers, physical addresses, and directories from all public and private databases. The pitch explicitly states they need people who eat, drink, and sleep algorithms.
So they are outlining the mechanics of digital decreation. They are selling him the ability to poison the data well. I mean, how do you hide a tree?
You plant a fake forest.
You plant a million fake forests around it and rewrite the map. And this concept of wiping reality becomes profoundly disturbing when we look at that 2007 FBI memo regarding the illusionist David Copperfield.
Right. Now, looking at this FBI memo from the DOJ drop and keeping in mind, we're just reading the puzzle pieces the federal agents gathered. We aren't drawing independent legal verdicts about the people named. The contents are really alarming.
Yes, they are.
The Seattle FBI field office details a 2-year investigation into Copperfield. It began after a woman alleged she was assaulted on his private Bahamian island, Musha Cay. Now, Copperfield has vehemently denied any wrongdoing. His lawyers state he was never friends with Epstein, and the investigation was dropped in 2010 with no charges filed.
Right, and what matters for our analysis is what the FBI agents found while they were digging and how it alarmed them.
Yeah.
The agents noted a clear connection between Copperfield and Epstein. They discovered what they called a business list, which they described as a compilation of females targeted for sexual conquest.
Ugh.
And on that list, next to the names of 2 women, was the handwritten note Jeff Epstein guessed.
It goes further than that, though. Federal agents raided Copperfield's properties, his residence, a warehouse, his theater at the MGM Grand. And they found something that terrified the investigators down in Miami who were simultaneously trying to build the case against Epstein. They found a 13-year gap.
Wait, a 13-year gap in his files?
Yes. The FBI memo explicitly notes that investigators could not locate hard copy files for the period from 1993 to 2005. The agents point out that this is the exact time span when Epstein would have likely become aware of investigations into his alleged misconduct.
Oh, wow. Here's where it gets really interesting. If you have a world-famous illusionist who the FBI notes is providing complimentary tickets to Epstein, and suddenly there's a pristine, surgically clean 13-year vacuum in his files right when the federal government starts sniffing around.
Yeah.
We aren't talking about a guy panic deleting a few awkward emails. We're talking about weaponized anti-forensics, actively wiping physical and digital reality.
It's the elimination of what is dead applied directly to federal evidence.
Exactly. And this raises the terrifying question about the contamination of the tech industry itself. How does a man like the Magus recruit brilliant, highly paid cybersecurity experts to do this kind of work?
Because he doesn't just offer money, right? These people already make high 6-figure salaries.
Right. He offers a lawless sandbox.
A playground with infinite resources.
Imagine you are a top-tier vulnerability researcher. Your whole life is finding the flaws in massive systems. Epstein comes to you and offers access to a private intelligence network that operates entirely outside the bounds of international law.
Yeah.
He has private islands, townhouses wired with state-of-the-art surveillance, and a clientele of the most powerful people on Earth. To a certain kind of amoral hacker, that is the ultimate puzzle.
Oh, absolutely.
The cameras hidden in the massage rooms, that was just the physical layer. The real trap, the true panopticon, was the digital extraction, the encrypted securing, and the algorithmic manipulation of that data.
He built a machine where the external reality of these elite guests was constantly monitored, recorded, and vaulted, while his internal reality was actively decreated. It's terrifying. He's building an infrastructure designed to outlive scrutiny.
Which brings us to the transition from the physical to the digital.
Yeah.
The end of his physical life.
Right. The tools we've been discussing today, vulnerability intelligence, anti-forensics, algorithmic reputation wiping, deep-level blockchain obfuscation.
Yeah.
These are not science fiction concepts contained in a 1965 novel.
No, they're very real.
They are the active, functioning architecture of the digital ecosystem you live in today, the privacy that you, the average person, struggle to maintain, the tracking cookies you can't shake. That is the exact same privacy the ultra-elite can simply buy, hoard, and weaponize against everyone else.
And if we look at the Magus's highly suspicious, incredibly lonely death in that squalid federal cell in 2019, it leaves us with a chilling realization. Society looks at that death and thinks, well, the system finally caught him. The illusionist ran out of tricks.
Right.
But think about the architects. If the hackers he hired, the people who built the locks, did their jobs perfectly, they achieved the ultimate decreation.
They passed the created into the uncreated. His physical liability was eliminated.
Is it possible that all his leverage, the true source of his power, the entire payoff matrix of blackmail and global control, didn't die with him in that cell?
Oh, man.
We have to consider the statistical probability that his life's work is currently sitting in a decentralized, automated, unbreakable, anti-forensic vault.
Yeah.
A digital dead man's switch.
Just encrypted servers waiting for a ping that never comes, quietly running the God game from beyond the grays. A finite world of words, completely untouchable.
Waiting in the dark.
And that takes us right back to where we started. You leave a footprint every time you log on. But the people who truly control the board, they don't leave footprints. They just rewrite the code of the ground you're walking on. Something to think about the next time you clear your browser history.